Well, let's start. Again, good morning to everyone who decided to join this morning, and I want to welcome you to this first ASEA Breakfast Call. For the ones that don't know me, my name is Reiner Limburg. I am one of the key account managers for ASEA in Europe. I'm from the Netherlands, but I work from the Munich headquarters in Europe in Germany. Together with my colleague Eduard Guck and my boss Jörg Heugje, we are the sales team of ASEA Europe. And just to give a bit more information on what we do, in the end, our most important job is to support associates throughout Europe with building their business. And in the end, just help out wherever we can, whether that is by joining Zoom meetings, give trainings, go to physical meetings, or anything else in that matter. One of the things that we discussed lately with people throughout the field is that we were not doing any calls, and this was a request to give regular updates from corporate side about everything that's going on in ASEA. And this is why we decided to start with this breakfast call. Also, the timing was decided in the focus group meeting, and we're going to try out and see if this timing is actually good for everyone, or that we should later on decide to do it on a different timing. For today, what I want to do is give you some updates on what's going on in the ASEA Europe office, but we also like to take this opportunity to address an important topic, and as well as give you some business insight from a very, very experienced network marketer. So that's why we invited two guest speakers today, for them to share their knowledge with you. From the ASEA corporate team from the US, we have Ryan Bruno in the call. Ryan is the Director of Associate Education and Compliance. And I must say that we are very, very grateful that he is willing to call in today, because he lives in the US, and in Utah, it's already past midnight at the moment. Ryan, thank you very much for joining. And well, what Ryan will do, he will address the topic compliance, and more specific, how to be compliant. We've been receiving a lot of questions about this topic. What does being compliant means? What can you say as an associate? What can't you say during a product presentation or a physical meeting, or during Zoom meetings for that matter? And so therefore, we are very pleased that Ryan is here. And from the other side of the world, we have Ambassador Double Diamond Executive Malcolm Sword from Australia. And yeah, Mel is, like I said, very experienced. He has, well, like he said, over 500 years experience in network marketing. He has business all over the world, including Europe as well. I know that he is active in France, in Switzerland, and other countries as well. And so I think that everyone can benefit from his experience. So very pleased that he is there as well. But before I hand over to Ryan, I would like to share a couple of things with you. For me, being part of the sales team, numbers are, of course, really important. And don't worry, I'm not going to give you a lot of information or a lot of numbers, and it's all good news. I just want to share with you that you are doing really, really well at the moment. And so if you look at sales and compare it to last year, we are currently looking at an increase of sales of approximately 40%. And it's not that this growth comes from one or two countries. In fact, almost all of the markets in Europe are growing. 17 out of the 22 countries show growth this year, which is awesome. A great job. And also, when you look at enrollments, we see an increase of approximately 18% compared to last year. And when you look at 2018 in total, we had almost 10,000 new enrollments. So for this year, that would mean we would have even more associates joining, which is of course good news for everyone. Also, when we look at the sales plan that is being set every year for us, we are ahead of plan, almost 800,000 US dollars ahead of plan. So taking this into account, I want to thank each and every one of you for this amazing job and great result. And I always say your success is our success. And in this case, that is really the fact. And therefore, I would also like to take a small bit of time to recognize a couple of associates for their fantastic achievements. So I want to share a quick overview with you. And I want to start by say thanks to, let me check if it works, to the top 5 enrollers. And I'm not talking about the entire year, I'm talking about April and the first week of May. And the top enrollers for this period are, and don't mind my pronunciation, hopefully I will get it right. But Patrick Sotero, Willy Marie-Louise, Manfred Kohlrusch, Christine Gaimard, Annette Yorfi, and Zoltan Vernay. A very good job on enrolling new people. Well, we all know that new people make the business grow and get the word out there about ASEA. And well, great job. We saw some great numbers from for enrollments in the last 6 weeks. And I also want to recognize the people that rank advanced in the last 5 weeks, so in April and as well as the first week of May. And starting with the new bronze executives. So congratulations to Helene Svertsdal, Rini Sundqvist, Camilla Westlund, Claudio Bellandini, Ulla Lindqvist, Francisco José Clément Guiner, Catherine Schrei-Elpidin, Elke Garowski, Irene Tafjord-Leuval, Mabel Hugardi. Congratulations to all of you. And we also had 4 new silvers. So congratulations to Josephine Lindmark, Ragnar Hild Stenersen, Christine Gemart, Willy Marie-Louise. And 3 new golds, very good job. Liv Tefre, Tina Vedin, and Manfred Kohlrusch. And I want to mention Manfred Kohlrusch the last because he qualified as gold executive in April, but last week he qualified as platinum executive as well. So Manfred, thank you so much for everything you're doing in Switzerland. I don't know if you're in the call, but great job. And I had the pleasure of meeting you when you organized an event in Switzerland. Great event, a lot of people there. So if you continue like this, I'm sure that we can recognize you in the next call, definitely. So now I would like to hand over, if I can stop sharing. Let's see, stop share. I would like to hand over to Ryan. And what I want to add is that if you have any questions for Ryan regarding the topic compliance, please feel free to contact him and his department. And you can use the email address for his department, which is compliance@asea.net. Ryan, I don't know, can you take over right away, or should I give you, I will just put you on allowed to speak. Let me see if I can find you in here. A lot of attendees, thank you so much for joining. Allowed to talk. Ryan, are you there? Ryan?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Reinder?
Let me see, what else can I do, Ryan?
Let's see. Are you hearing me at all? Oh, it looks like some of you might be able to hear me. Looks like
Maybe I'm the only one that can't hear Ryan. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just.
I can hear you now. Sorry.
You can hear me? Okay, great. I don't know. I don't know if my video is working, but you don't want to see me this late at my time anyway. So appreciate the opportunity to be on this call. And I'm not sure if hearing from compliance is your ideal start to the day, but I appreciate all of you for being here on this call and for all you do to make ASEA successful. As Renda mentioned, I'll just take a few minutes this morning of your time just to talk about compliance and how we can properly promote the ASEA products and opportunity. You know, sometimes we get a little concerned about compliance in the associate education and conduct department, that they're, you know, running around looking for ways to make our job harder than it needs to be. But I want to assure you that, you know, that couldn't be further from the truth. Those of us in the compliance department that I am over have quite a bit of experience in this industry, and we realize that if you aren't successful, then none of us are successful. And so the point of what we do is to help you. You can always reach us. If you contact the corporate office, you can certainly ask to speak with us individually. We'd be more than happy to speak with you. In addition, as Rander mentioned, you can reach out to us by email, compliance@aseaglobal.com. And we, again, be more than happy to answer any questions, specific questions you may have as it returns to anything related to ASEA's policies and procedures. Again, the reason why we exist as a compliance department is to help you build your business in a way that's going to help you in the long term and ultimately help the company in the long term. Sometimes we worry a little bit about rules associated with certain things. And I'd like to, you know, share an analogy with you that a former a manager of mine would sometimes use, having to do with a kite string. And he would use this sometimes when talking about the rules and what compliance looks. You may have to think back some years. I can't recall the last time I've done it personally, but if you can recall flying a kite, think about what the string does for the kite. Pull it down from the sky, and I think most of us probably realize it doesn't. It holds the kite up, and that's the point of the rules that we have. It's a kite string. If we can pull that healthy tension down on these things that we are doing, it helps to hold us up, and it helps to hold us up for the long term. So that's what we try to accomplish within my department. When we are promoting ASEA, we need to realize that there are governments all over the world that have an interest in protecting their people. And because of that, they put rules in place, and that's again to protect their people. And some of them, these rules we worry about sometimes that it's kind of hindering our business. But again, if we look at it as a kite string, it's really there to help us to move forward in a better way. I know that many of you realize how powerful our product. Hopefully I'm still on here. Something just happened to my computer. Is everybody still hearing me, I hope?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you'll be able to share your screen if you want.
If it cut off at anywhere, but I'll just continue. Thanks. Thank you. It might have been just something on my end, but again, I know that many of you, realize how powerful our products are. You've been sharing them with your friends and family, and you've seen their impact in your own life. You know that these products are effective, that they're real, and that they are literally changing people's lives. The science and research behind our products gives us an effective tool to use as we introduce them to others. With that said, at times, it can be tempting to try to go beyond the message and the information that our marketing and sales teams have developed in line with these certain government laws and regulations. But that is dangerous and can potentially attract unwanted regulatory scrutiny. As many of you know, the internet is a great way to communicate with individuals all over the world. As the internet has grown over the years, it's greatly expanded your reach, allowing you to contact, again, people all over the world. But it's also important to understand that reach also brings the attention of regulators whose job it is to search for impermissible product claims. What you say on your social media site or on your webpage, for example, is no longer limited to your close circle of friends and family. It's viewable by anybody and can be, again, searched rather easily. So in that regard, it's important that we remember that the actions, of just a handful of associates can have potentially negative consequences for us all. As you know, ASEA's products are not classified as drugs or medicinal products. Rather, their classifications range from country to country, from anywhere from a food to a food supplement to skincare products. Under these classifications, our products should never be referred to either expressly or explicitly as a medication, a treatment, or a cure for any diagnosable condition. Doing so would be considered misleading and could imply regulatory approval when there is none. And again, could bring unwanted regulatory scrutiny to the company. As far as what we are doing as a company, we have been and will continue to do all we can to help you by reviewing associate web pages, sales tools, and materials such as that for any claims that are prohibited under laws specific to the market in which you're promoting in. We encourage all of you to remind the people on your teams to be careful about what they say on the internet, which are easily searched, and to avoid claims that could bring enforcement action against the company and yourselves. There are 3 suggestions that I'd like to share with you about what you can do to guide your marketing of ASEA products. Again, 1, stick with the language used in official region-specific company literature and the company webpage for your market. The best way to ensure you stay compliant is by using the materials provided by the company. Because regulatory guidelines vary across the different governing bodies of different countries and continents, it's important that you don't promote products or product-related content outside of the market for which the materials have been approved. And again, you can find this material directly on the corporate websites and materials for your specific market. Secondly, avoid, again, any express or implied discussion of a disease or a claim that our products can cure or treat a disease. So making sure, again, any claims that are made are those that are approved by the company, which are in line in line with the government regulations set forth in the various markets that ASEA operates in. If you have a website that you would like to use to promote the ASEA products and business opportunity, or other sales tools, feel free to send that to my department, again, at compliance@ASEAglobal.com, and we'd be more than happy to work with you to ensure that your promotion there meets not only company but regulatory guidelines. In addition to product statements, it's also important to ensure that any income claims are compliant with government and company regulations. The success of an individual in this industry depends on their individual circumstances and effort. And so it's not appropriate to promise any level of compensation or income. So, making sure that we're properly promoting and giving proper expectations to those that we're in contact with will help everybody in the long term. In closing, as we market the ASEA story including our groundbreaking products and business opportunity in ways consistent with laws and regulations. We ensure everyone's continued ability to share our life-changing products and to pursue the ASEA business opportunity unhindered. When we choose to ignore these laws and statutes, everyone's opportunity to use ASEA products or engage in the ASEA business opportunity is potentially compromised. So let's all work together. I encourage everyone to work together to safeguard our ability to market ASEA products and our accompanying business opportunity, not only now, but in the future. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or my department. We will help you and we'll make sure that you can be as successful as possible as you share these amazing products and business opportunity. And again, our email address is compliance@aseaglobal.com. Again, thank you for allowing me to take a few minutes of your time this morning to talk about this. And I wish you all the best of luck and continued success. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Ryan. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that you took the time to talk about this very, very important topic. I just want to emphasize that it's really important for an associate to know how to be compliant, and not only for your own meetings, but like Ryan said, also to train your team on how to be compliant, so that everyone is on the same page there. Also, I went through the chat during Ryan's talk, and I noticed that a lot of people are slightly disappointed that we cannot see everyone's faces, everyone who joined the call. And this is something that has to do with the setup. I tried to change it, but for now it's not working. But we will definitely make sure that that this will for the next call this will happen. So sorry about that, but yeah, Ryan, thanks again. Sleep well, go to bed. I know it's late, and then I would like to go from Utah. We will switch over to the other side of the world, to Melbourne in Australia. And this is something I really love about ASEA, is that it's a global business. You can have business all over the world. And this is also something that when I met Mel a couple of weeks ago in Switzerland, where he was speaking at an event, this is what he told me as well. He loves this about ASEA. And that actually the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is go online and go to the VO, to the virtual office, to see, to look at enrollments, to see how his global business performed when he was asleep. And yeah, another thing I want to mention about Mel is that although he has many years of experience in network marketing, he told me that he's still learning every day by listening to new people he meets and listen to their experiences. And therefore, I think it's great to have him and share his experiences with you. And hopefully, but surely, we can learn something from him. Mel, the floor is yours.
Guten Morgen.
Morning.
Randy, before I begin, is this being translated? How is this being? I see that there's a lot of different languages. How are people translating this?
Well, that's obviously tricky in Europe because we have a lot of different languages, and therefore we communicated that for this call we will do it in English, and it will be recorded. So right. There would be the opportunity to listen to this afterwards and maybe translate it themselves. But for now, we stick to English only because there's no other way.
So I don't need to practice my French. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Well, no, I think that you would need to do it in 10 different languages then. So you can give it a go. But
I'll stick to English, but I'll just try and talk a little bit slowly. I tend to talk quickly, so I'll try and keep it slowly so that people can maybe understand. So first of all, good morning to everybody, and thank you very much, Rhonda and Jörg, for inviting me to the call. And I hope I have something this morning that can help you to build your organizations and maybe grow your organizations a little bit quicker. So you're right, Rainer. I've been in the industry for a long time. My recommender and sponsor, Danny Doyle, whenever he gets a chance, tells people that I've been in the industry 500 years. It's actually not 500, but it is 27 years. So I've been in this industry a very long time, but only with ASEA 3 years. So I'm still learning, as everyone on the call, we're still learning. So I don't profess to have all the answers, but hopefully I can share some with you that have worked well for me in the last few years and might help you to grow your organizations a little bit quicker. What I wanted to share with you this morning is what I do when I start a new business associate. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that when I get somebody new, when I'm starting somebody new, I move very, very quickly. And I don't spend a whole lot of time teaching that new associate everything about the back office. I don't spend a lot of time teaching them about the science. I watch people that do that, and it just slows everything down. And I want to address the reasons why. Before I begin really with the content that I want to share with you, I just want to address that from what I've seen in the 3 years that I've been with ASEA, there are really two ways to deliver this company or this product or this technology into the market. And one is to build it on the product, around the product. And the second way is to build it around the technology and around the opportunity. When I began in 2016, it kind of took me a little while to figure out what was the best way to build it, at least for me. So there is no right way or wrong way. So if you're building it on the product and it's working well for you, then continue to do that. But I build it, and I'm very clear with people, I build this very much on the window of opportunity that we have with this technology. And so I'm going to be talking about that. And the reason that I do it this way is that I've watched people that have been in the business with ASEA for a lot longer than I have, that are delivering it on the product. And it tends to be by adding one associate, one customer, one patient at a time, and which is addition. So you end up 1 + 1 + 1 + 1, and it's a slow way to build the business. Now I'm not a young man anymore, so for me I needed to find a way of building it quicker than that. And I found when I started building it on the opportunity and building it on the window of opportunity we have and on the business specifically, that I would find, and I look for leaders, I look for key people, exactly as if I was building any other business, if I was building any traditional business. My role in building a traditional company is to surround myself with the very best people that I can. I would be looking for the best sales director. I'd be looking for the best marketing director. I'd be looking for the best finance director. I'd be looking for my key people, my board of directors, if you like. And those board of directors, I would pay them incredibly well. I would want them to be 6-figure earners or 7-figure earners. And it's no different with ASEA. I look for people who are visionary. I look for people who are entrepreneurial. I look for people that understand the significance of this breakthrough, which is incredible. We have a window of opportunity here that is unique. I've waited all my life for it. And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how I look for these key people. And then when I've got them is how I work with them to get them to build the business very quickly. So the point of finding key people is that you end up multiplying your volume very quickly rather than adding. Now, let me put a proviso on this, and I'll cover this in a second. If I'm talking to somebody that I know is unwell, I will have that conversation. Of course, I will not reach out to them about the business. So if I've got somebody that I know is struggling with a health challenge, then of course I'm going to reach out to that person with the technology and the product that we have. But when I'm talking to people generally and prospecting people or connecting with people, which I do pretty much every day, then my initial phone call is very much about the opportunity and not so much the product. So I want to start there. I want to start with the phone call and what I say in the phone call. I won't go through the whole script. Some of you may already have it, but in the phone call that I make, I do not mention the word product. There are certain words that when you have a window to talk with somebody on the phone for a minute to a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, the choice of words I've found over the years is very important. It's very significant. And one word incorrectly spoken or one word can lead people to the wrong understanding. So I'm very careful with the words I use. So I don't mention the word product. I do mention the word timing. I do talk about where the company is positioned. I do share with them that the company grew 53% globally last year. I mention those kind of things. And so those are kind of carrots that I put into the phone call that I make with people. And then at the end of my phone call, my question to people is, John, and this is my closing question, may I ask, are you open to looking at other income options? And the reason that I ask that question is that I want a yes or a no answer. I don't want a maybe answer. I'm busy and I'm looking for people who are either not in the looking zone right now, and I'm okay with that. If they're not looking, they're not looking. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't go and slash my wrists if they're not looking. But if they are looking, then I want to connect with them and share with them exactly what we're doing with this technology. And so I want that yes or no answer. Now, if somebody when I'm calling them, if somebody says, no, Mal, I'm really happy with what I'm doing, I haven't got time, or I'm just in a really good place, then I will ask them a second question. And my second question is about, do they know anybody, or do they have a personal friend or a close relative that's struggling with a health challenge? So I do ask that question, but it's my secondary question. And the reason I do it that way around is that if they come on as a builder, I know that they're going to take this technology to the people that they know that are unwell anyway. So once I've gone through the phone call and they've responded, yes, they're open to looking, and they're open to looking at other income options, my first and my preferred option is to meet with them face to face. Now, I can't always do that because a lot of the people I connect with are either around the world or in different states of Australia. And so I'm not able to necessarily just get out and meet people. But the best response that I ever get and the best way I find of building this is face to face. I find the best way I can communicate the message of ASEA and the opportunity of ASEA is actually by sitting down with somebody. But if I'm not able to do that, then I will try and encourage those people to a live stream webinar. In Brisbane next week, for example, we have a lady called Dr. Maureen Hayes, who sits on the ASEA Medical Advisory Board presenting in Brisbane. So I have a number of new people I've invited along to that seminar. So I will do other things other than, if I can't meet with them personally, to engage with them, or if at last resort, I'll send them some information. I'll send them a variety of links. Once I've sent information to them, I'm always going to follow up with them. One of the things I've watched over the years, probably the biggest weakness, or one of the biggest weaknesses I think associates have, is they engage with people, they send information to people, but they kind of get a little bit frightened of following up with people. And the money, you might have heard this, the fortune is always in the follow-up. I am beyond the point of worrying about if somebody says no to me. I expect that they're going to say yes to me. I expect that once I've spent time with them, that they're going to engage with ASEA and that they would want to build an organization, a global organization with me, because it is such a special technology and such a special company. So those are the ways that I sit down with them. My preferred option is to sit down with them. And so once I've done that and they say, right, I'm ready to start going. And I move, as I mentioned before, very quickly with them. I don't then spend time with them training them. I don't spend time in the back office. I don't spend time going through the science and the validation. That could take weeks, and it's going to slow me down. It's going to slow them down. There are three reasons why people stay in a business like this, and three reasons that allows somebody to build a business quickly. So the three reasons that people stay on board with a business like this is, number one, when they see their business growing. When they see people coming into their teams, when they see their teams growing, expanding, it gets people excited. They can look at the results and think, great, something exciting is happening, and they see some growth, and that encourages them to stay around. And I will train them progressively, gradually, over a period of weeks and months, but I don't do it all up front. The second reason people stay in a business like this is when they see money coming in. And so one of the things that I want to do is to help them to get to the income quickly, preferably to make them enough money so that it covers the cost of their product. And you can do that relatively quickly. You can do that within a matter of 2 to 4 weeks if you're moving quickly with people. And the third reason that people stay on board with a company like this, with a business like this, is based on relationship. And so I work with, with the key people that I'm working with, I work on developing that relationship. My aim is to help people get what they want out of a business like ASEA, not what I want, but to help them get what they want. You know, you've probably heard what Zig Ziglar said many years ago. If you help enough other people get what they want, indirectly, you will get everything that you want. So it's really about helping to meet people where they're at and moving very, very quickly. One of the things I don't do, and I've watched a lot of people in this market, but in other markets that do this, when they enroll their new associate, they send their new associate home to get on the phone and contact new people. But that new person doesn't know what to say. He's got no idea of what to communicate about redox. He barely knows anything himself. So I'm not going to let my new associate go home and get on the phone and make the phone calls. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with that new associate, and I'm going to get on the telephone and make his calls with him and for him. And so I'll do a phone session with him. So I'll organize that. I always organize a meeting from a meeting. So once I've enrolled him, I'm going to say, okay, the next step is this. We're going to make some phone calls, and I'm going to help you enroll some new associates into your business. And in the first phone session, I will make those phone calls. I will ask it, excuse me, I will ask him to prepare a list of 30 names with telephone numbers, and I will start working my way through those names and make the phone calls with him. Now, I want to do that phone session in his company. If I can't do it, we can do it on 3-way calls, but it's preferable if they're here in Brisbane, then I'll do it, you know, with them, so they can listen to the phone calls that I'm making. And so one of the things that I'm doing is I'm teaching them what I'm saying on the phone call, because the phone call works. And the other thing I want to do is to have a phone call that is duplicatable. The way you build large organizations very quickly is that make sure everything that you do is duplicatable. When you build organizations, that is one of the most important words, is to make sure that everything you do is duplicatable. So my first phone session will be between 1.25 hours and 1.5 hours. And my aim in that session is to have 6 people say, yes, I'd like information. I'd like to meet with you. I'd like to know more. I'm happy to plug into a webinar. I'm happy to meet with you. So that's my aim in the 1.25 hours, 1.5 hours, is I set a target of having 6 people that will say yes to me and yes to catching up. Now, those meetings I will do. So if there's 3 or 4 meetings and 2 information, I will do that with my new associate. I will take him and I will show him exactly how I do a meeting. I'll show him how I follow up. I show him how I make the phone calls. From there, after the end of the first phone session, we've got some things happening. I will then book in a second phone session. I will also give him my script, which I'm going to ask him to learn, and I'm going to ask him to call me and practice that script to make sure that he's got it right. So I'm not going to send him home without a script so he can get on the phone to people, not say the right thing, be confused about what he's saying, be nervous about what he's going to say. Every phone call is going to be different. And he'll call 20 people. And if he gets 20 people that say, look, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm not interested, he's going to waste some of his best prospects, but he's also going to be totally discouraged. So I'm going to help him and hold his hand through this process. Now, at the second phone session, I'll make half of the calls and then he'll make half the calls. And so I'm going to get him to start learning what I'm saying. I'm going to start to get him on the telephone so that he can then learn what I'm saying, so that he can then start teaching what I'm saying. So again, this is about learn, do, teach. Learn first, then do, then teach. Learn, do, teach. Most of what we end up doing in a business like this is teaching. In fact, the best profession in the network marketing industry, are you still there? Hello? Are we back?
I can hear you.
Sorry, I dropped out. I don't know what happened. It just seemed to drop out. But can you hear me again?
I can hear you.
You think everybody else can hear Rhonda?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just continue.
Yeah.
I'll just continue. Okay,
Yes.
so if everybody can hear me, I'll just continue. So what I'm doing here is I'm showing my new associate, I'm showing him every step of what I do. I'm showing him how to create a list. I'm showing him how to make the phone calls. I'm showing him how to do the meetings. I'm showing him how to introduce people to a webinar. I'm showing him how to do a follow-up. So the best way of teaching in a business like ours is to show, not tell. Telling is management. You know, when I see people telling people what they should be doing, that's management mode. And a business like this does not like management mode. And let me preface that. Like, it's okay for Trish Swenkler to be in management mode now, but when we're in the process of constructing our organizations, this is a leadership-driven business. So everything I aim to do is to teach people by showing them. I'm not a general that lies at the back of the army and send the armies forward. I'm at the front end of my army, leading the way by teaching people and showing people what I've learned works over the years that I've been involved in the business. And there's a great saying in our industry, and it says, example is not the most important thing. It is, in fact, the only thing. When it comes to leadership in a business like this, the example that I show and the example that I set when building organizations is the most important thing. The other thing that I'm going to do with my new associate is I'm going to encourage them to develop personally. So I'm going to encourage them to get on the Audible program, which you can get through Amazon, and start listening to positive information, mindset information for at least 30 minutes per day. Now, I've got somebody I'm working with at the moment. He's a personal of mine. He's gone through a lot of challenges in the last few years. I've got him on a program right now of an hour a day because he's starting behind the 8 ball. And he's warming up really well now. He's been on this about 2 weeks now. He's doing an hour every single day, and I can hear it in his voice. I can hear it in the way he speaks to me, that he's starting to lift his mindset, his belief in him, and he's starting to grow really well. Ultimately, most of what we do in a business like this is grow people. We find the key people, and then we help to grow those key people. So listening to the audibles and personal growth, and ultimately a business like ASEA, building large organizations, it is very little to do with the product and very little and very much about people. So one of the things that I've been saying to some of my key guys recently is asking them the question, you know, do people move products or do products move people? And the answer is no, people move products. We are in a people business. Now, we have an incredible product, but it's people that build organizations. Products do not build organizations. And those of us that are building organizations, large organizations, and leading key people and finding key people, it's about helping people to develop. It really is about personal development and helping our people to grow. So what I do with these people when I start these new lines off is I'm looking to find another leader underneath my new person. So once I've got to a point where I've shown my guy everything that I've done, he's now ready to go solo. Now, that doesn't mean to say I just leave him, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the next key person underneath him, and then I'll go and work with that person to teach them what I do, and I'll do exactly what I've done with my new personal. I'll do exactly the same with them, and then I'll go looking for somebody that wants to run with under him, and I'll work my way down the line that way. So that's kind of driving the depth in business. But as I'm doing that, I'm teaching all the way through. So one of the most important things is to teach with a business like that. As I mentioned before, learn, do, teach. The other thing I share with my new associate is to have a very clearly defined DMO, daily method of operation. And a daily method of operation will be simple things like how many people a day they're going to contact, and make it clear and make it a habit of doing whatever he's going to do per day. I spoke with one of my associates today. They're reaching out to 30 people a day. Now, not everybody can do that. Now, he's doing that by text, he's doing it by email, and he's making some calls as well. But it might be as simple as connecting with 2 new people every single day. I know that's what Trish Schwenkler does, and that's what she teaches. I'm also going to ask them to spend time on audibles every single day. I'm going to ask them to spend time on their goal setting. It's a business, build their business and work on their plans, work on their strategy and goal setting to the next event that we might have coming up. Adding names to their names list and supporting new associates that they've introduced to their team. So these are all things that form part of a daily method of operation. So my aim with a new builder is to help them to rank to bronze. Once I've got them to bronze, my aim is then to help them, guide them. Once they get to bronze, they pretty much know a lot of what to do. They don't know everything, but really once somebody gets to the gold level, the training wheels can come off at gold, I think. Pretty much from there, it really depends on the size of their dream as to how far they'll go. There's not a lot more that needs to be learned. Probably the key things from goal on is really how to raise your leaders, how to help your leaders. But that's kind of something that happens with time and with experience and with guidance. And, I'm there to help, a lot of my key guys to do that. So I also aim at people, I give people statistics on what it's going to take to rank up to bronze. I haven't got time on this call to go through those numbers, but it will be within 4 weeks to 12 weeks that I would like to set somebody the goal of raising to bronze. I saw somebody put on the chat box, when am I coming to Europe? So I'll be over at Lyon on the 29th of June. I'll be over there at that event. I don't know what I'll be talking about. I'll leave that to Mija to guide me as to what you'd like me to talk about at that event. But I will be over there, and I'll hang around on the day after, so that if I can catch up with people who want to catch up, I'll make myself available for a couple of days just to help people as much as I can with their business. The other thing, before I close, is the time frame. Often people ask when they get started is, what sort of time frame, what sort of time commitment, do I put into a business like this when I start? And the answer on a part-time basis is 12 to 15 hours a week. If somebody says to me, I've got 20 minutes a week, it's really not enough to make anything happen. It's a business. It's going to need some attention. Now, if you can put in 20 hours a week, your business will grow much faster. This is not a linear business. This is an exponential business. So if somebody can put in, if I'm suggesting 12 to 15 hours and somebody says I can put in 30 hours, will their business grow twice as fast? No, it'll grow 4 to 5 times as quickly. It's exponential. And a lot of people, because they haven't been in a business like this, don't really understand the exponential growth. But when you get it built properly, when you get it set properly, and you have multiple lines that are growing at one time, the growth can be phenomenal. And it is phenomenal when you find the right people. So I hope you can still hear me, because I can't see or hear anybody. So I hope that helps. Are you still there, Rhonda?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Terrific. Well, I hope everybody heard. I don't know what happened to my screen. It just dropped out. So I don't know whether I had an internet problem, but I hope that was helpful. I hope that helps people. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I know I have a tendency to talk a little bit too fast, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rhonda, for inviting me. Thank you, Jörg. Thank you, Edouard. And thank you all very much. And I look forward to seeing many of you in Lyon next month.
Yeah, Mel, thank you so much for sharing your insights and sharing these tips with us. For me, really helpful, and I think for others on the call as well. Always love to hear you speak with the passion for the business. And a couple of things that I took out from this is the help people grow, which is of course really important with the ASEA. It's part of the vision as well. And that you said that you like to meet people face to face. And I think that with the technology we have nowadays, it's of course easy to organize Zoom meetings or just text or Facebook people, but meeting face to face is really an important part of network marketing and the ASEA as well. And this reminds me of the communication, the newsletter we sent out recently about meeting support standards, because it is important, and organizing physical meetings is it can really grow your business. We know that it has a positive effect on enrollments, but also on sales as well. And it's also a great way to get people together and have fun together as well. And this is why we came up with standardized meeting support. We standardize it so that everyone can benefit the same way. And if you haven't heard about this, there's a lot of information in the VO, or check your newsletter about this meeting support standards. But what it is, we want to support you organize these meetings because, of course, there's a cost aspect to it, and you need a lot of time to organize an event, and therefore we are supporting both financial, but also by offering a promotion, or even that one of us, me, Eduard, or myself, can come over and help you out at the event. And for the bigger events, even Jörg, the regional vice president of Western Europe, can come over to the events to help you out on the physical events. But again, Mel, thank you so much. It was an honor to have you in this first breakfast call, and I really enjoyed it. Then,
thank you very much.
Thanks. One other thing I want to mention, because every opportunity I get, I want to share this, is of course Winter Wonderland. We are now 2 weeks in the incentive, and we can already see the results. We know that this is an incentive that was really successful last year, and it's worth working for. And it can be a great incentive, not only because the goal is, of course, to go to Finland together, but it's also a great incentive to boost your business and to motivate your team. So I hope to have as many qualifiers as possible. The same with the sales that I mentioned before. The more qualifiers we have, the more successful this for us as well. So good luck on this promotion, and I just wanted to give you some information that your personal the widget that you can find in the VO, it's updated weekly. So every Wednesday it will be updated. So probably it will be updated already, or maybe later today. So you can see how you're doing, and the leaderboard will show up later as well, so that we can see who's on track. And of course, hopefully try to congratulate someone on their making it to the incentive soon. Then there's one last thing I want to share with you, so I will share my screen quickly, and it's a couple of dates that I want to make you aware of. And of course, hope you can see my screen. Of course, it's the next breakfast call. We decided to do it every third Wednesday of the month, so the next one is June the 19th. I will make sure that the setup of this call we will make sure that we can see everyone who's in the call, and that we can do some questions afterwards as well, because I think there's always a need for questions. But the next breakfast call, June 19th, the 19th, of course, the ASEA Global Convention in Vegas from September 12th until the 14th. And what we did last year is after the convention in the United States, we did a post-convention tour. Is that there was a team, the European teams, sales team, together with a couple of executives from the United States. They toured through Europe to attend meetings organized by local leaders, and to tell everything what went on in Vegas and share the news with you. And it was so successful that we're going to do it again this year. And what the plan is to visit 10 cities in 10 days. So we are really looking forward to it. What I want to say is that these events are organized by local leadership. So if you want to know when we will be in your city or in your country, contact local leadership, and they have more information. It hasn't been finalized yet because we started planning just a short while ago, but the dates that we will go on the tour is fixed. It's going to be September the 28th until October the 7th. And then the last thing I want to mention is hopefully a lot of you were in Barcelona this year. and the next European conference in Envision 2020 will be in, and my colleagues gave me the green light to announce the city today in this breakfast call. It will be in Lyon, France. So hopefully everyone is really excited about that one. What we also learned from the survey we sent out is that a lot of people would really like to see it instead of Thursday until Saturday, from Friday until Sunday. So that is why we decided to do that as well. So we start on the Friday and it will last until the Sunday. So hopefully that is good for all of you, and hopefully this call was good. Of course, this was the first one, and a couple of things, technical things could have been better, so we will work on that. And I want to thank you all for joining and making the time in your schedule to, well, let me stop share, for taking the time this morning to join us. We really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next month. Thank you so much.